Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibuni tena kwa channel yetu Matrices Tutor. Na kama kawaida yetu tutafanya hii paper number evaluation test paper 1. Tutaka tumalize paper nzima in which pia mimi nitajaribu kwa uwezo wangu nitaigawanya into bits so that usio waboeka katika kuangalia video nzima. So kama ni section 1, I'll tell you question 1 is about this topic, or question 2 is about this topic, section 2 the same thing. So just stay tuned and we'll do this paper together. In case utaka section nini question wise, I'll also post it on my free time. So kama kawaida yetu namba nimewekea, don't forget to subscribe and let's start the session. Answer only all the questions. Don't know what's the purpose of writing only the answer all the questions from this section. So question 1, evaluate -8 times -8 plus 6 over -3 plus -8 divided by 2 times 4. So let's look at the numerator. So the numerator ni, now for this question make sure that you'll be using board mass. So we're going to use board mass for this question. So board mass. So hapa katika numerator kuna bracket, hakuna off, hakuna division, so there's only multiplication. So let's start with multiplication, which is this one. So -8 times -8 gives you positive 64. Then finally add 6, which gives you 70. So numerator yako ni hii. Let's go to the denominator. So the denominator hapo sasa kuna -3 plus -8 then divide by 2 times 4. So hapa kuna bracket yako ni wapi? Ni hii hapa. So plus -8 itakuwa -8. So -3 -8 divided by 2 times 4, then kuna division, kuna off. So we are taking -8 divided by 2 to give you -4, then multiply it to 4. The next one is multiplication. But ukishamaliza division you multiply. So -4 times 4 gives you -16. So -3, -16. So let's subtract. Itakuwa -3, -16 itakuwa -19. So finally you take your numerator, divide by denominator. So 70 over -19. So 19 inaingia kwa 70 mara ngapi? Hiyo ndo wajiuliza. So inaingia mara 3, but remember it's negative. Positive divided by negative is negative. So -3, remainder 13 over 19. So this is your answer. Okay, let's go to question 2. Question 2 says 4 bulbs give signals at intervals of 5, 15, 20 and 25. So the bulbs give signals simultaneously at 9 a.m. It means the number of times they will give signals together by 10 a.m. So for ujue mara ngapi wali give signals from 9 to 10 a.m. So but first let's find for the LCM of 5, 15, 20 and 25. Tutatafuta LCM. Tujue baada sa after how long will it give signal? Maybe 5 seconds or I don't know. So let's just find for the LCM. So we come here. Okay, now let's divide by 2 because of 20. Itakupa 10. So you have 25. Then divide by 2 again. It gives you 5, 25, 15 and 5. Then divide by 3 because of 15 to give you 5, 5 and 25. Then divide by 5 to give you 1 by 5. And then finally divide by 5 to give you on all sides. So the LCM is 2 squared, kwa sababu ya 2 mara mbili. So it's 2 squared times 3 times 5 squared. So 2 squared ni 4, 4 times 3 ni 12, 12 times 5 ni 60, 60 times 5 ni 300. So it's basically saying that it will give signal after 300 seconds. But now, since this is time, seconds is very rare to be used, so let's change it to minutes. So 300 divided by 60 to give you 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes wata give signal. So kama imeanza saa 3, signal ingine itaanza saa 3 na dakika 5, the other one saa 3 na dakika 10. But how many times would they give signals? See, so the bulbs will give signals how many times? So basically what you need from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and how many hours? It should be 1 hour, in which 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. Now, so you take the 60 minutes, divide by 5 to find out how many times. So it gives you around 12. So 12 times, guys. Question 3. Simplify the expression 8ab negative 6a plus 8b squared negative 6b. Sawa? So ni rahisi, over 64b squared minus 36. So hapa wacha tuangalie kwa numerator, then we'll go to the denominator. In the numerator una 8ab minus 6a plus 8b squared minus 6b. So tukiangalia hapa watafuta common factor ya hapa, and then waja watafuta common factor ya hapa. So yeah, so common factor in the first group, which is 8ab minus 6a, ni 2a. 2 kwa sababu 8 waweza kudivide na 2 na 6 pia negative 6 waweza kudivide na 2 and the reason why a is also a factor is because a is found in 8ab and also on 6a. So 2a into bracket 4b. If you take 8ab divided by 2a, the a cancels out and 2 goes into 8 4 times, which whatever letter remains will just be b. And negative 6a divided by 2a is negative 3 because the a's will cancel out, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then the common factor in the other group should be 2b, okay, because b is found on both sides. So a divided by 2 is 4 and b squared divided by b is b. Negative 6 divided by 2 is 3, b divided by b is just 1, therefore b cancels out. So you're left with 2a plus 2b, okay, into bracket 4b minus 3. Ile ambao yani waipata imeandikwa mara mbili utaiandika kama mara moja, and the one which is outside that bracket you write it in one bracket, ambao ni 2a na 2b. So you can still factorize for the 2a and 2b. The common factor is 2, therefore you'll have a plus b. The other one is 4b minus 3. Now let's go to the denominator. So you have 64b squared minus 36. First, the common factor here is I think, if it's not 9, is 8. So the common factor is 8 only, not b, because b is just found in b squared. So 8 into bracket 64 divided by 8 is 8b squared minus 6 divided by 8. No, common factor is not 8, sorry. I think it's 4. Yeah, it's 4. Common factor is 4 into bracket 12. 64 divided by 4 is 16. So 16b squared minus 9. So after you factorize it like this, remember this one is a difference of 2 squared, and it's given by a squared minus b squared, which is equal to a plus b and a minus b. And how do you know it's a difference of 2 squares? Because you can find this for the square root of 16b squared and also this for the square root of 9. So now let's find out what is the square root of 16b squared. The square root of 16b squared, it should be 4b. Square root of 9, or negative 9, but the 9 is 3. So when you factorize, it should be written like this, 4b minus 3, and the other one as 4b plus 3. So now let's take the numerator, divide by the denominator. So which one cancels out? This one cancels out, and by 2 1, by 2 2. So your final answer should be written like this: 2 into brackets 4b plus 3. Or you can expand to be like this: 2 times 4b is 8b plus 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, that's for question 3. Question 4. Two similar pyramids have capacities 540 cubic centimeter and 160 cubic centimeter. Okay, the smaller one has a base area of 25 centimeter square. Calculate the height of the larger pyramid. So very easy. So to calculate the height, it means that you need to have linear scale factor. No, it's not about linear scale factor. I think you need to have the area of the other pyramid. So for you to have the area of the other pyramid, it means that you have to have linear scale factor, so that you can convert linear scale factor to area scale factor. So now you've been given volume scale factor, because the question gave you 2 volumes. So volume scale factor is given by the volume of the larger one divided by the volume of the smaller one, or you can take volume of the smaller divided by the volume of the larger. I prefer this. So the volume of the larger, which is 540 divided by 160, it should give you 3.375. So that is your volume scale factor, 3.375. But now, if you cube root volume scale factor, it gives you linear scale factor. Now, so let's cube root it to give you 3.375. So your linear scale factor is 1.5. That's the reason kwa nini cube root ni kwa sababu there's no direct relationship between volume scale factor and area scale factor. So sije ukasema sijui nini, volume scale factor isabadilisha tu ukapata area scale factor by doing square and cube. No. So the only way that you can find area scale factor is through linear scale factor. So that's why I converted the volume scale factor to linear scale factor, and I got this as my answer. So this, what does this mean? It means that there's an object which is 1.5 times greater than the other one. So that's what scale factor means. Hiyo ni mambo na enlargement. So there's an object which is 1.5 times greater. But now we don't want linear scale factor, we want our area scale factor, and it's given by linear scale factor squared. So just take 1.5 squared to give you, I think, 2.25 as your area scale factor. So it means that there's an area which is 2.25 times greater. So if your area of the smaller one is equal to 25 centimeter square, the area of the larger one will be 2.25 times of the smaller one. So I'll take 2.25 multiplied to 25. That's the easiest way to give you 56.25 square centimeter. So yeah. So that is that's not your final answer, it's just continue. So remember, the question is asking you about the height of the larger pyramid. And how do you find the height? Remember that the volume of the pyramid is given by a third pi, not pi, a third times base area times height. Okay? Times height. Now, do you have the base area for the larger pyramid? Yes. A third times 56.25 You have the height, no, times h is equal to 540 cubic centimeter. That is the volume. So a third times 56.25 should give you 18.75 times height gives you 18.75h equal to 540. So divide by 18.75, divide by 18.75, your h will be 28.8 centimeters. So this is your answer. Let's continue. Question 5. Otieno, my friend, spends 1/5 of his salary on food, 1/4 on rent, 3/5 of the remainder on transport, and saves the rest. Determine the amount of money that Otieno saved if he spent 3,300 shillings on transport. So on food, he spends at least 1/5. Okay. On rent, I don't know which country is he living. He spends 1/5 on food. Unless yala ugali kila siku, I don't know. So rent is 1/4. Okay, and 3/5 of the remainder. Now, what is our remainder? So first, let's add up the food and the rent. So which is 1/5 plus 1/4. So if you take 1/5 plus 1/4, it should give you something out of 20, and that is 9 out of 20. So the remainder will be 20 out of 20 minus 9 out of 20. So itabakia 11 out of 20. So hiyo 11 out of 20, 3/5 yake ikatumiwa katika transport. So 3/5 of 11 over 20. So you just multiply. So 3 times 11 gives you 33. And 5 times 20 is 100. So 33 over 100. So this is your what? Your transport. So your transport will be 33 over 100 and saves the rest. Now you don't know even savings. So let's search for the savings as well. So for you to search for savings, basically, now you add the food, the rent, and the transport. So you know the food and plus the rent gives you 9 out of 20. If you add together with the transport, which is 33 out of 100, it should sum up to 39 out of 50. So you've used 39 out of 50 for the 3 utilities. So the remainder will be 50 out of 50 minus 39 out of 50, which is I think 11 something. It's 11. Yeah, it's 11 out of 50. So 11 out of 50 are your savings. So your savings are 11 out of 50. Or your savings. It should be savings, not saves. I don't know who did you save. Savings. So determine the amount of money that Otieno saved if he spent 3,300 shillings on transport. So the transport, to me, at 33 out of 100, which represents the 3,300 shillings. Okay. Now, how much money will he saved? So what's the fraction for the saving? It's 11 out of 50. So ask yourself how much will equate to 11 out of 50. So take 11 out of 50, cross multiply by 3,300, then multiply by the reciprocal of this one because you're dividing it, and since it's division, you change it to multiplication and you reciprocate the fraction. So multiply by 100 over 33, because 33 goes into 3,300 100 times, 50 goes into 100 2 times. So 11 times 100 is 1,100 times 2 is 2,200 Kenya shillings, and that is your answer. 3 marks are bure. Now question 6. Solve for q in the equation log 3 base q plus log 81 base q is equal to 5. Sawa, ni rahisi ama si rahisi? So hapa hii q isikutishie maisha. So what you basically do here, since it's addition and you've been told that log A base A plus log C base B, if the bases are the same and it's addition, you multiply those two numbers, it's A and C, so you get log base B A times C. So it's the same thing we do to this one. So log 3 plus log 81, all of them having base Q, is equal to 5. So you just multiply the 3 with 81. So log base Q, 3 times 81 is equal to 5. So 81 times 3, it should give you 243. So log base Q 243 is equal to 5. Now this 5 is basically the power of Q, because if you now try and change it to index form, it should be written like this: Q to the power of 5 should give you 243, because log is just basically the power of something. So it's the Q power of 5 gives you now 243. Now since we have this Q to the power of 5, since it gives you 243, for you to remove the power of 5, you do fifth root. So fifth root here as well. Let me just wrap this. The fifth root of this one. So Q will be equal to the fifth root of 243, I think 3. So yeah, it's 3. So your Q is basically 3. Now let's go to question 7. Two passengers, trains A and B, which is 240 meters apart, are traveling at speeds 164 kilometers per hour and 88 kilometers per hour respectively towards each other on a straight railway line. Now train A is 150 meters long, while B is 100 meters long. Determine the time in seconds that elapses before the two trains completely pass each other. So now we have train A, which is this, which is 150 meters long. Between train A and train B, we have those 240 meters apart, and we have train B being 100 meters. So let's find for the relative distance or the total distance of all those. So total distance will be 150 plus 240 plus 100. So that's the distance apart. Not the distance apart, that's the relative distance that you use to find for the time in seconds that elapses before the two trains completely pass each other. So 150 plus 240 plus 100, it gives you 490 meters. Remember, it's meters, and since you have kilometers per hour, so let's just change meters into kilometers. So by dividing it by 1,000, and it should give you 0.49 kilometers. So 1 kilometer is equivalent to 1,000. So 490 divided by 1,000, it up by 0.49 kilometers. Sawa paka hapo. Now let's search for the relative speed. So since B is coming this way and A is coming this way, and remember A's speed is 164 kilometers per hour and B's speed is 88 kilometers per hour. For you to get the relative distance, you add the speeds because they are moving opposite against each other. Okay, so you just take 164 plus 88. If it were moving alongside or together facing one direction, then you could have subtracted. But for now, we're adding those two speeds. So 164 plus 88 gives you 252 kilometers per hour. Okay, so let's take your relative, so time taken to meet, or time taken, that's time in second that elapses. So the time will be a relative distance over relative speed, which is 0.49 kilometers divided by 252 kilometers per hour, to give you how much? So 0.49 divided by 252 should give you, but remember, whatever answer that you'll get, will be in terms of hours, and most probably it will give you a very small hours size. So whatever answer you get, you multiply by 3600 seconds to change it into seconds. Okay, so times 3600, it gives you 7 seconds. That's your answer. Or you can opt to take 252 kilometers per hour, change it into meters per second. 252 times 5/18. Yeah, you can multiply by 5/18 to give you 70 meters per second. And you'll just leave the 490 the way it is. Okay, there's another one. I'll show highlight it using another pen. So and you leave the 490 the way it is. So you just take, so time will be 490 meters divided by 70 meters per second. To give you 7 seconds. So different ways that all of them will give you the same solution. So question 8, the following are the exchange rates that are used by a certain forex bureau in Kenya. Okay, so the currency for South African rand. Question 8, the following are exchange rates that are used by a certain forex bureau in Kenya. The currency you have is South African rand and also the Norwegian krone. Then the buying shillings is the buying price, they usually charge 8.13, and if they sell to you they charge 8.19 Kenyan shillings. For the Norwegian krone they charge 12.20, and when they sell to you they sell it at 12.37. Okay, so a business person from Norway converted 284,450 Norwegian krone or the NK to Kenyan shillings at the forex bureau. He spent 2/3 of the money, so he just remained with a third, and changed the rest, which is a third, to South African rand. So the question says find the amount to the nearest South African rand that he received. A very simple question with a very simple answer, so you don't need to think too much, especially for this type of questions. It's very easy to answer. So okay. So let's go down. So let me just draw this line. It doesn't look nice. So one is SAR, South African rand. Now since it's supposed to start with SAR, it's supposed to start with the Norwegian krone. Since he's converted the Norwegian krone to Kenyan shillings, so it means that when he goes to the forex, the forex bureau usually buys from them. So because the forex doesn't have that currency, therefore they buy the currency from them. As a result, they usually buy it at a cheaper price. So for one NK, you have 12.20 or 12.20. So you ask yourself about 284,450. So you multiply 12.20 to 284,450 times 12.20. It should give me around 3,470,290 Kenyan shillings. Very excessive amount of money. Now he spent 2/3, so he just remained with a third. What we're concerned is not the spendage, we're just concerned with the remainder. So a third times 3,470,290. Let's see how much it gives us. So if I take divide by 3, it should give me 1,156,763.33 Kenya shillings. Then he went and converted this Kenya shilling to South African rand. So when he goes to the forex, so the forex will sell it, the currency to him. So if one SAR is equivalent to 8.19 shillings, so you ask yourself, what about the 1 million? Pesa mingi hizo, na mimi mwenyewe sijawahi zishika. Okay, so you multiply, then you divide. So you just basically take 1,156,763.33 divided by 8.19, and it gives you 141,240.94. But to the nearest Kenya shillings, to the nearest South African rand, it should be 141,241 SAR. So wewe na akili yako muende ukaandike Kenya shillings, ndio utajua kama kuna kitu yaitwa rogi ama kuna kitu yaitwa right. Question 9, find all the integral values of x that satisfy the inequality below, which is that 3 into bracket 1 plus x less than 5x minus 11 less than x plus 45. So 3 times 1 plus x, which is less than 5x minus 11. So basically first we deal with this one, and then we deal with this whole thingy, and then after dealing with this one we go and deal with the other guy, which is this. So 3 into bracket 1 plus x, so just cross multiply. Now 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times x is 3x, which is less than 5x minus 11. So 3x peleka at the other side, negative 11 peleka at the other side, so it gives you 3 plus 11, which is less than 5x minus 3x, should give you 2x, which is greater than 14, divided by 2. Divided by 2, you'll get x, which is greater than 7, or 7 is less than x. Let's go to the other inequality, which is this one. Alafu wanafunzi wengi wana tabia sijui ya kufanya hii hivi, the other half, which is very wrong. You're not supposed to do that. So yeah. So 5x minus 11 less than x plus 45. Collect the like terms again. So let me migrate this here and here hapa. So 5x minus x less than positive 11 plus 45. It should give you around 56. So 4x is less than 56 divided by 4. Divided by 4. 6 divided by 4 is 14. So x is less than 14. So now when you write the inequality together, so it should be written like this: x should be greater than 7 but less than 14. Just a compound inequality. But ukitaka kuacha hivyo, ukiandika hivi pia utapata a correct mark. You'll be given a mark for that. But now that's not your final answer. You've been told all the integral values that ranges between 7 and 14. Not 7 and not 14. So 7 and 14 is not included. So just write 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So do not include 7 unless kama ingekuwa kuna kitu hapa okay include, kama ingekuwa hapa you include 14. But since it doesn't have that equal sign, you don't include the 7 or the 14. Alright. Question 10. The figure below shows a circle center O. Angles QPR and QTR are 20 degrees and 80 degrees respectively. Question say determine the size of a reflex angle POS. And the question B says angle OSQ. So OSQ is here and reflex angle POS is here. So that's angle POS. That's not the reflex angle. We'll search for the reflex angle if you find the angle POS. So now we know this is 80 degrees. So angle in a straight line add up to 180. So the angle PTQ should be 180 minus 80 because PR is a straight line, PTR. So this one should give you 100 degrees. So since PTQ is a triangle, so angles in the triangle add up to 180. So this is 100. If you add it to 80, you add it to 20, gives you 120. And then subtract it from 180 to give you 60 degrees. Okay, so 60 degrees is angle PQT is equal to 60 degrees. Now, there's a property about angle property. There's a certain property that says that angle subtended by a chord to the center is usually twice the angle subtended to the circumference. So this one here, no, this one which is here is twice the angle which is at the circumference. So it should be 60 times 2, which is 120 degrees. Okay, so make sure that the angle angle POS is twice the angle PQT. That's why 2 times 60 gives you 120. Now that's POS. Now the reflex angle POS is 360 minus the angle POS 120, which should give you around 240 degrees. Okay, now let's search for the OSQ, the last angle, which is here. And that's very easy to find it. It's not that hard. Okay, now you know this is a radius, this is also a radius, but I think even without those, there's not a must for us to know the radiuses. We can just find the angle at OSQ very easily. So you know this is 100. So 180 minus 100 gives you 80, because angle in a straight line add up to 80. So if this is 120, obviously this one should give you 180 minus 120, giving you 60. So TOS is a triangle, and angles in a triangle add up to 180. So therefore, let's just take 60, add 80 to give you 140 degrees. Then 180 minus 140 will give you 40 degrees, and basically that is your answer. Okay. Question 11. Solve the simultaneous equations below using matrix method. So you have that. So now let's rearrange the first equation, and also let's put it in decimal form if it's possible. Yeah, because I think that's the only way. So 2 over 5 in decimal form is written as 0.4y minus a 40 as 0.25x. But now let's start with x and then y. So let me start with negative 0.25x plus 0.4y, which is equal to 4, and 3x minus 1.5y equal to 18. Mona rahisi sana. So the next stage is when you write it in terms of matrix form. So it writes as like this. So negative 0.25, you have 0.4, you have 3, you have negative 1.5, then multiply to 2x and y to give you 4 and 18. Now let's search for the inverse of this. So before searching for the inverse, we need to search for the determinant, and determinant is given by the main diagonal minus the other diagonal. So you're supposed to take negative 0.25, this one, minus this one. So negative 0.25 times negative 1.5 minus 0.4 times 3. This one gives you positive 0.375 minus this one gives you 1.2. If you subtract, it gives you negative 0.825. Okay, so that's your determinant. Afterwards, you do 1 over negative 0.825 multiply 2 to get the inverse. So basically hii negative 1.5 utaweka kwa negative 0.25, negative 0.25 itakuja kwa negative 1.5, and for this and this you just change the sign. So negative 1.5 itakuja hapa, negative 0.25 itakuja hapa, na sign ya 0.4 itakuwa negative 0.4 na ile nyingine itakuwa negative 3. Sawa paka hapa. So the inverse of this you can wacha tuifanye mapema. So negative 1.5 divided by negative 0.825 should give you 1 point, but let's leave it till there. Wacha tuiandike hivi tu vile tunavyoona. Okay, so usually if you take your inverse multiply by the matrix itself, at the end of the day itakupa 1001. So if I take 1 over negative 0.825 multiplied by this one, multiplied by the matrix, sawa, and then since hapa umeweka hiyo inverse on the right side pia uandike inverse. So 1 over negative 0.825 multiplied by negative 1.5, negative 0.4, negative 3, negative 0.25, then also multiply by 4 and 18. So at the end of the day, hii yote is written as 1001 times xy, in which this is called an identity matrix, and if you multiply by any matrix you just tend to have the same result. So he times he just gives you xy, so haina haja mimi niandike tu hapa. So now let's take this matrix multiply to this matrix, so row column, so it's equal to negative 1.5 times 4 itakuwa negative 6. Okay, plus negative 0.4 times 18, e times e itakuwa negative 7.2, negative 3 times 4 negative 12, negative 0.25 times 18, negative plus negative 4.5. Remember bado kuna ile 1 over determinant yako. So hii itakuwa 1 over negative 0.825 multiplied by negative 13.2 na nyingine ni negative 16.5. So your final answers will be, so 2 negative 13.2 divided by negative 0.825 to give you x as 16, and negative 16.5 divided by here, negative 16.5 divided by negative 0.825 to give you 20. So those are your two answers. So your x is 16 and your y is 20. Tuendelee. Question 12. Determine the values of x and y given that 2 to the power of 2 over 3x times 9 to the power of y equal to 5184. So tutaweza chora factor tree ukitaka, yani kama umeona haina haja, wacha tuchore hii kitu hii kaitwa box table. Ewe napenda kuchora hivi hivi. So let's divide by 2 mwanzo. The reason kwa nini ninataka nigawanye into 2s and 9s. So 5184 divided by 2, 2592 divided by 2 tenner, 1296 divided by 2 tenner, 648 divided by 2 tenner, 324 divided by 2 tenner, 162 bado yaendelea, divided by 2 81, then divide by 3 27, then divide by 3 9, then divide by 3 3, divide by 3 1. Sawa, so ukiona hapa 2 ziko mara ngapi? Ziko mara 6, so ni 2 to the power of 6. Sawa, na 3 nataka 2 9s, I don't want the 3, so hii ni 9 na hii pia ni 9, so 9 ziko mara 2. So I rewrite the equation as this. So 2 to the power of 2 over 3x times 9 to the power of 9 to the power of y is equal to 2 to the power of 6 times 9 to the power of 2. So this one equal to this one, so yamaanisha you just take the power. So 2 over 3x is equal to 6, cross multiply. So 3x times 6, 18x is equal to 2 times 1, which is 2. So divide by 18, x is equal to 1 over 9. For the y, so 9 to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 2. So y equate the powers, y equal to 2. So those are your answers. So yeah. Question 13. Use tables of squares, reciprocals, and square roots to evaluate to 3 decimal places. So we have 1.2 over 0.0415 squared plus 5 times the root of 0.976. So in short, Utaofa only gave 1.2 times 1 over 0.0415 squared plus 5 times the square root of 0.976. So tatafuta taandika hii squared in terms of yani utaandika in standard form. You should write it in standard form. So the 0.0415 should be written in this form: 4.15 times 10 to the power of negative 2, and we square it. So plus 5 times, also write the standard form for this, but for this you have to write it in a way that the base power of 10 should give you an even, not an even, but a number that you can find the square root. So in which hapa huwezi kuandika 9.76 because with the power of 10 itakuwa huwezi tafuta square root yake. So that's why I'm writing as 97.6 times 10 to the power of negative 2. So come here, 1.2 times sina table, 4-figure table right now, but you should search in the 4-figure table the square of 4.15. So the square of 4.15 in the 4-figure table should give you 17.22225, I think so, but just let's write it 17.22 times if you square 10 power negative 2, it gives you 10 power negative 4. You just multiply the powers, negative 2 times 2, plus 5 times the square root of 97.6. It should give you 9.879. Okay, it should give you 9 point. I think I have the 4-figure table. Just you can confirm the square, but in this 4-figure table we don't have hakuna page ya 1 mpaka 5, so I just have. So let's search for the square root of 97.6. So 97.6 should be here. So the square root of 97.6 it should be 9.8793. So 9.7893 times the square root of 10 power negative 2. You just have the power to give you 10 power negative 1. So the next step, 1.2 times 1 over, if you multiply by 10 power negative 4, 19.22 times 10 power negative 4, 𝐓𝐼 0.000, again 0, no, just 2 zeros. So 1722 plus 5 times, if you take 9.7893 times 10 to the power of negative 1, it should be 0.97893. So 12 times now the reciprocal of 0.001722 plus 5 times 0.97893. Now write it in standard form again. Utaandika 1.722 times 10 to the power of negative 3 reciprocal yake. So reciprocal ya 1.722, which is 0.5807 times 10 to the power of positive 3. So this one should be 1.2, not 12, sorry. So nitatumia calculator hapa. 1.2 times 0.5807 times 10 cubed should give you 696.84 plus 5 times 0.97893 yafaa ikupe 4.8946. I'm just using a calculator, but if you're using table, it's very different. So plus 696.84, we should give you 701.23 decimal places, which is 701.6735. So that is your answer. So let's continue. Question 14. Question 14, remember the figure below shows triangle PQR in which PQ is equal to 5 cm, QR is equal to x squared centimeter, and angle PQR is equal to 30 degrees. Given that the area of the triangle is 20 centimeters square, calculate the value of x. So ukipewa triangle kama hiyo na kuna angle na kuna side mbili ambazo yani zikipatana zita form hii angle yani. So they meet at an angle. So the formula for finding such an area is given by a half AB sine theta. So in which the two sides should be the one intersecting to give you that angle. So a half times your A, which is 5, times your B, which is x squared, is equal to the area itself. So I'm writing here a half times 5 times x squared equal to 20. So which is 5 over 2x squared. Half times 5 is 5 over 2x squared equal to 20. So then divide by 5 over 2. Divide by 5 over 2. So x squared is equal to, if you divide yamaanisha ile fraction uta reciprocate na uta introduce multiplication sign. So x squared is equal to 20 times 2 over 5. So x squared equal to 40 over 5. 2 times 20 is 40 over 5. 40 over 5 is 8. Now, what is the square root of 8? Square root of 8 to get x. So what is the square root of 8? I'm forgetting something. Wait. Yes, I forgot something very important. That's why I'm wondering. I'm getting a decimal as my answer. Sorry for that. So tumesema I have AB sine theta, right? I have AB sine theta. So I was supposed to multiply by sine 30, which is giving you 20 centimeters square. So I have times 5 times sine 30. It should give you 1.25. So 1.25 x squared is equal to 20. So divide by 1.25. Divide by 1.25. X squared is equal to 16. So x squared equal to 16. Square root of x squared. You square root it to remove the square, and it gives you 4. Itakupa positive 4 or negative 4, but you can't use negative 4 because hakuna measurement ambayo yani huanza na negative. So this is 4 centimeters. So x is 4 centimeters. Ni rahisi, 3 marks za bure tu ushazipata. Tuendelee. Question 15. Fill in the table below of y equal to x squared minus 6x minus 7. Hence, otherwise use it to estimate the area under curve, the x-axis, the y-axis, and the lines x equal to 0, x equal to 0, x equal to 6 using mid-ordinate rule with 3 strips. So, with 3 strips. So, for you to first get the height, utachukua ile ya mwisho minus ya mwanzo, then divide by the number of strips. So you take 6 minus 0, divide by the strips, which is 3. So 6 divided by 3, itakupa 2. That's the first thing that you should know. And then, hapa tayari umeambiwa utafute area using mid-ordinate rule. And area using mid-ordinate rule is given by your height. So your height, that is the value of x, your height times y0 plus y1 plus y2 and plus y3, and it's continuing hivyo. So you're taking the mids of the y, the midpoints here. So height yako uko now, but first let's find the values of y. So y yako is given by x squared minus 6x minus 7. So kama tafuta ya 1, utatumia 1 squared minus 6 times 1 minus 7. So 1 minus 6 minus 7 gives us negative 12. Kama taka 2, the same thing. 2 squared minus 6 times 2 minus 7, it gives you negative 15. Kama taka kutafuta ya 4, the same thing. Gives you negative 15 as well. And that's all. So tayari hizo utakuwa ushapata mark moja from that. So 4 squared minus 6 times 4 minus 7 gives us here negative 15. So rahisi. So hapo umeambiwa 3 strips. So this is the first strip, this is the second strip, and this is the third strip. So these ones are the midpoints. So yani your y values are your midpoints. Hizi, hii na hii. Hiyo ndo y0 plus y1 hivyo. So height yako tumesema ni 2 times the negative 12 add to the negative 15. But you can also ignore the negative because at answer for negative you ignore the negative. So plus negative, sorry, not negative 15. But supposed to be negative 16 plus negative 12. You can opt to ignore it, or you can write it like this because the negative will just get out. So 2 times 12 plus 16 plus 12. Hapa itakuwa 12 plus 16 times 2, which gives us 80. So hata hapo ukipata negative 80, you usually take the absolute value, you don't take the negative. So your answer is therefore 80 square units. So that's the area using mid-ordinate rule. Question 16. Hey, so now I don't have a place where I can write it for now. Sometimes I do, but sometimes the software is not working. So by yourself, try it out and leave a comment there. This is better. Nipe comment ya hii answer ambayo utakaopata hapo. So draw it and tell me what is the length. What is the length, because you need to use a scale diagram and etc. So comment there and let's go to section B. Section 2 say question 17. Question 17 yasema nini? A closed cylindrical tank of a diameter 7 meters has a total surface area of 110 square meters. Now, if the tank is initially 1/3 full of water, water was pumped into the tank at the rate of 2.5 liters per second. Question A, taking pi to be 22/7, calculates the Roman 1 height of the tank, which is 2 max. Roman 2, the volume of water required to fill the tank in liters. Roman 3, time to the nearest minute it will take to fill the tank. Question C, starting with a full tank, calculate the time in minutes that the tap should be left open once again so that it can serve the community for 32 full days if they use 2,400 liters of water daily. A very easy question which we can solve it together. So just like you know, this is a cylinder, a cylindrical tank, that is. So a cylindrical tank equal a diameter 7 meters, and you know that a tank looks like this if it's a cylinder, right? Now you don't know the height. What you just know is the diameter, in which if your diameter is 7, then your radius would be half of the diameter, which is therefore 3.5 meters. So this is your radius. So just know that radius is half of diameter, or a half of 7, which is 3.5. Very important. So now to calculate the total surface area of the cylinder, the formula is given by 2 pi r squared plus pi dh. Okay. Which is equal to the total surface area, which is equal to 110. So 2 times 22/7 times your r, which is 3.5 squared, plus 22/7 times your diameter, which is 7, times your height, which you don't know, gives you 110 square meters. Now let's find how much do you get if you take 2 pi r squared. So 2 times 2/7. The reason why I'm doing 2 pi r squared is because it's a closed cylindrical tank. Therefore, you have 2 circles. So one circle gives you pi r squared, the other circle gives you pi r squared. If you sum it up, it gives you 2 pi r squared. So times 3.5 squared. So for this one, it gives you 77. If you take 22 times 22/7 times 3.5 squared, it gives you 77. For the other one, 22/7 times 7 gives you 22 h equal to 110. So now let's subtract 77. Let's subtract 77. So 22 h will be equal to 33. So if you divide by 22, divide by 22, your height will be equivalent to 1.5 meters. So that is your height. It's not that difficult. Okay, now let's go to Roman 2, which the question is asking to find the volume of water required to fill the tank in liters. Now, volume is given by, volume of water required to fill the tank in liters. So volume is given by pi r squared height, right? So if I take 22/7 times my r, which is our r is 3.5 squared, multiplied by the height, which is 1.5, the total volume of the tank will be how much? Now the total volume of the tank is 57.75 cubic meters. Okay, but now remember that you had already filled a third, so the tank is a third full of water. So you just need to find the volume that's remained to be filled, which is 2/3. So 2/3 of 57.75 will be how much? So answer times 2/3, so it gives you 38.5 cubic meters. So that's not your answer. So you've been told to write your answer in liters. So if you want cubic meter, gives you 1,000 cubic centimeters. So what about 38.5? So you just multiply, and therefore your answer will be 3,800, or 3,000 by 38,500 liters. Okay, not that hard, very easy. For volume required to fill the tank in liters. Yeah, okay, I'm correct. Okay, Roman 3. Time to the nearest time it will take to fill the tank. Okay, time to the nearest time, nearest minutes it will take to fill the tank. We know that there's a rate in which water is entering the tank, and the rate is 2.5 liters per second, right? So if 1 second you have 2.5 liters, then you ask yourself, what about 38,500 liters? So you take 1 times 38,500 divided by 2.5. So let's just take 38,500 divided by 2.5, gives us 15,400 seconds. So we can change seconds into minutes by dividing it by 60. So if you divide it by 60, you change it into minutes, and it gives you around 256.67 minutes. But if you change it to the nearest minute, it should give you 257 minutes. Okay. So question C. Now the question saying that for the question C, starting with a full tank, calculate the time in minutes. The tap should be left open once again so that it can serve the community for the 2 full days if they use 2,400 liters of water daily. Okay. So now if in 1 day they use 2,400 liters, what about those 32 days? So you multiply the days with the liters. So 32 times 2,400 will give you how much? Itakupa shingapi? Itakupa liters ngapi? It should give you 76,800 liters. Now, for those 32 days, siku 32 italipa 36,800. So a whole tank usually itachukua how many liters, if I'm correct? Tulisema ni 57.75 cubic meter. So if you change 57.75 cubic meter into liters, you multiply by 1,000 to give you 57,750. The zeros cancel out, so 57,750 liters. So take the 76,800 minus the 57, which is the full tank, minus the 57,750 liters. How much will it give you? should give you 19,050 liters ambazo zilizobakia. So again, you take the 19,050 divide by the 2.5 liters per second. Okay, and let's see how much does it give us. It gives you 7,620 seconds. If you change it to minutes, it should give you 127 minutes. Therefore, that is your answer. Sawa mpaka hapo. Haya, so nadhani maswali si magumu hayo, sote watashangati. Nadhani kama hili swali ni ngumu, si ngumu. So let's go to the other question without delaying time. Okay, question 18. The figure below shows two circles of radii 10.5 centimeter and 8.4 centimeter, and with centers A and B respectively. Full stop. The common chord PQ equal to 9 centimeter. Okay, those are two circles. Okay, and those are your two different radiuses. Taking pi to be 22/7, calculate two decimal places the sizes of angle PAQ, which is this one, and angle PBQ, which is this one. So, which is not that hard. So I think we can solve for this. Okay. Now, so let's draw the two triangles, different sides. So the first one being this one, which looks like this. And remember, hapa ni 10.5, nyingine ni 8.5. So the common chord, which is PQ, is 9 centimeter. So if I draw A and P and Q, this is 9 centimeter, and the radius 10.5. As long as this is a isosceles, waweza ukaigawanya mara mbili. You can divide it into two triangles. So if you divide it, it means that this one will take 4.5 and the other one will take 4.5. 9 divided by 2 gives you 4.5. Now I need to find for this angle. So after finding this angle, I'll multiply by 2 so that I can find the whole angle, which is this one. Okay, so if you see this, it looks like this, which is a right angle triangle, and therefore you're going to use SOHCAHTOA. So you have the hypotenuse, you have the adjacent, your opposite to that angle, because this is opposite and this is hypotenuse. Now between SOHCAH and TOA, which one are we going to use? So definitely we're going to use SOH, which is sine, because we've been given the opposite and the hypotenuse. So sine theta is given by 4.5 divided by 10.5. So your theta is equal to the sine inverse of 4.5 over 10.5. So let's take 4.5 divided by 10.5, sine inverse, and your answer. Your theta therefore is 25.3, even to decimal place, 3769. Okay, but now if you times it by 2, because you've been told to find the size of angle PAQ, not a half of it, so you multiply by 2 to give you the whole angle, which is basically to 2 decimal place, should be 50.75 degrees. So not that difficult. Okay, now let's continue with the other one. The other one will also so this angle is angle PAQ. Now let's go and search for the other angle, PBQ. So let's draw PBQ. So P and Q will be here. So and this is B. So you're searching for this angle. Again, we're dividing it into 2. If you know this is 9, this will be 4.5, and the other one will be 4.5 centimeter. So, and the radius for that chord would be 8.4 centimeters. No mistake, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's 8.4 centimeters. 8.4 centimeters. So if you look at this, if your angle is here, so I'm drawing the triangle. So if your angle is here, basically this is your opposite and this is your hypotenuse. Again, we're going to use so sine of that angle is equal to 4.5 over 8.4. So your theta is equal to sine inverse of that quotient. So bado usha divide hizi mbili, watafuta sine inverse yake. So theta itakuwa ni ngapi? 4.5 divided by 8.4. Sine inverse ya hiyo ni 32.392 hapo. Lakini sasa watafuta PBQ, the whole of PBQ itakuwa ni times 2 yake. So angle PBQ will be equal to 64.78 degrees to 2 decimal places. So now those are 4 marks za bure ushapata. 6 marks zingine za bure. Area of the shaded part. Area of the shaded part is basically this. So, and how do you find the area of the shaded part? So for this part here, which is here, this is, so you have something like this. Okay, and you have another one also like this. So which gives you also this way. So if you take the area of the sector minus the area of the triangle, it gives you this. And on the other side, pia ukichukua area of that sector minus the area of the triangle, it also give you that one. So basically, those are called segments. So those are called segments. So for the first segment, let me write segment 1. You just take area of the sector. Okay, but let me draw just like I usually draw. So for the first segment, we say area of sector minus area of triangle. Okay, so area of that first sector, the first sector ni ile ambayo ilikuwa na radius ya 10.5. Sawa, na angle yake ni 50.75. So an area of a sector is given by theta. So theta yako ni 50.75 theta over 360 pi r squared. So times 22/7 times radius yako ni hiyo 10.5 squared minus the area of triangle, which is given by a half AB sine theta. So a half times AB yako ni hiyo radius times 10.5 times 10.5, which is just 10.5 squared times sine hiyo angle, which is 50.75. So let me just write it well so that it doesn't. So ni a half times 10.5 squared times sine 50.75. So let's just insert that. 50.75 divided by 360 times 2/7 times 10.5 squared, which gives us itakupa 48.84. Ninaandika nyingi, naweza andika yote nikitaka. So minus half AB sine theta, which is a half times 10.5 squared times sine 50.75. So hii pia nitaandika nyingi so that I don't get much error. So for 2.688 hii 9 hapo. So let's take those two and subtract. So that's just a moment, I'm confirming something. Okay, muhimu mara zingine confirm, muangalie answer yako je ni right ama wrong. So if you subtract those, it gives you 6.158. let's write it to 4 centimeter cubed. Is it centimeter? Yeah, centimeter squared, not cubed. So that's for segment 1. Segment 2 is given by the same formula, area of a sector minus area of triangle. So area of that sector ni bado theta over 360. Theta yako ni 64.78 over 360 times 22 over 7 times r squared. R squared is radius yako hapo ni 8.4. Sawa, minus area of triangle, which is a half, times a times b, which is now 8.4 squared, kwa sababu ni a ni hiyo 8.4 na b pia ndio hiyo 8.4. So rather than taking 8.4 times 8.4, I'll just take 8.4 squared times sine 64.78. So how much is that? Okay, so this one usually will give us 39.9, I think 0448. The other one 8.4 squared. You can also insert the whole thing if you want to get direct answer. For this one also, they say 31.91705. So if I subtract both of those, how much does it give me? Right. Let me just confirm again. So I've confirmed and I think it's true. Okay. So yeah. So the answer here should be 7.987. Now, for you to get the area of the shaded part, you take segment 1 plus segment 2. So you take 6.158 plus 7.987. So this is centimeter square. So plus 6.158 to give me 14.15 centimeter square to 4 significant figure. Okay, but I'm not sure if all the answer should be to 2 decimal places, so I'm correct. Okay, so our answer is basically 14.15 centimeter square. Okay, so with that all, why am I saying goodbye? We still have a question to do, so don't leave the session yet. Okay, question 19. Inequality of a straight line. Umeulizwa 2 lines L1 with equation 2y minus 3x minus 6 is equal to 0, and L2 with equation 3y plus x minus 20 is equal to 0. They intersect at point A. Question A determines the coordinates of A. Question B, at that line L3 is perpendicular to L2 at point A. Okay, determine the equation of L3 in the form of ax plus by equal to c. That question. Another line L4 which is parallel to L1 and passes through negative 1,3. Determine the from one size to 2 decimal places of an acute angle that line L4 makes with the x-axis. And the last question, the y-intercept of line L4. Very simple question. So it's not that hard. So you have L1. Now I want to rewrite the L1. So watch it to indicate as 2y minus 3x negative 6 to be at the other side, you positive 6. And for the L2, so you indicate here negative 20 on the other side iwe ni 3y plus x is equal to positive 20. So now, rather than writing it like this, let me rewrite it also again. This one as our equation 1, and the other one which was at the top as equation 2, which is equal to 6 here. So now this is the one that I'm supposed to work out. So this is these are two equations, and for you to get the coordinates at which they both intersect, you do the simultaneous equation of both. So nataka kutoa, I want to remove y. If I want to remove y, if you look at the top, the coefficient for y is 3, so I'll put it at the bottom here. The coefficient for y at the bottom, which is 2, should be put at the top so that they can become similar numbers. So when you eliminate them, they will cancel out easily. So lazima uzifanye ziwe same. Sasa hii 2 ambayo iko hapa chini nimeweka hapa juu, na hii 3 ambayo iko juu hapa nimeweka chini. So each number I'll multiply by that coefficient. So for the first equation, 2 times 3y is 6y. Kila number nita multiply na 2. 2 times 1 ni 2x, na 2 times 20 hii na hii ni 40. 3 times 2y ni 6y. 3 times negative 3x ni negative 9x, equal to 3 times 6, which is 18. So both of them have positive signs, so therefore same signs, subtract. So subtract, so use a subtraction sign, so this one will cancel out. So what is 2 minus negative 9x? 2 minus negative 9x is 2 plus 9, which is just 11. So 11x. What is 40 minus 18 is 22. So if you divide by 11, x is equal to 2. For the value of y, use any equation. So let me take any of the equation. Let me take this one, 3y plus x, which is 3y plus x is equal to 20. So 3y plus our x is 2 equal to 20. 2 peleka the other side. So you'll get 3y equal to 20 minus 2. Positive 2 kipeleka the other side is upon negative. So 3y is equal to 18. Divide by 3, y is equal to 6. So your value is 2,6. So wacha niandike hapa 2,6 is your answer. So that's the coordinates for A. So question B. At that line L3 is perpendicular to L2. At point A, determine the equation of L3 in the form ax plus by equal to c. So umeambiwa L3 is perpendicular to L2. Mwanzo L2 yetu equation yake ilikuwa ni if I'm not wrong, ilikuwa ni 3y plus x equal to 20. So 3y plus x is equal to 20. Now for you to get any equation, lazima mwanzo ujue gradients. So let's first search for the gradients of L2 by writing it in this form, y equal to mx plus c. Once you've written in this form, ukipata m, that m is your gradient. So 3y positive x peleka the other side, so itakuwa negative x plus 20, then divide by 3, y equal to negative x over 3 plus 20 over 3. So m yako hapa which is m1 is negative 1 over 3. Ile coefficient ambayo iko nyuma ya x ni negative 1. Ile negative 1 haionyeshi, huwa yafichwa. So ni negative 1 over 3. So since L2 is perpendicular to L3, we say that m1 times m2 is equal to negative 1. So m1 ikiwa negative at that, ile m2 ya L3 itakuwa reciprocal ya negative at that, which is 3/1. Kama hii ni negative, hii itakuwa ni positive. Sawa. So gradient ya L3 is 3. Sawa, gradient yake ni 3. Point, sio, umeambiwa at point A. So point, for you to write an equation lazima uwe na gradient and a point. Point yetu ni A, which is 2,6. So let's assume there's another point x, y. So utaandika gradient which is 3. You know that gradient is given by change in y over change in x. So y minus 6, hiyo ndo change in y. So y minus 6 over x minus 2 ndo tutafuta nini equation. Cross multiply. So if you cross multiply 1 times hiyo itakuwa 2 y minus 6 and 3 times x minus 2. So 1 times y minus 6 is just y minus 6 equal to 3 into bracket x minus 2. Sawa. So y minus 6 is equal to, open up the bracket, 3 times x ni 3x, na 3 times negative 2 ni negative 6. That's a negative 6. Peleka huko na 3x ilete huku, kwa sababu hapa umeambiwa tuitafute in form of ax plus by equal to 6c. Ama let's do this. Ey tupeleke the other side. Pale kwa negative 6 na negative 6 tuilete hapa. Sawa. So therefore ile y ukipeleka huku itakuwa ni 3x minus y, na hiyo negative 6 ukileta hapa itakuwa positive 6 minus 6, which is 0. So 0 equal to 3x minus y. Ama tuizaandika hivi, 3x minus y is equal to 0. Sawa kwa hapo. Nadhani tumeelewa concept hopefully. Pia nadhani waweza ukaiandika kama y minus 3x equal to 0. Still the same thing. But this is better. 3x minus y equal to 0. So that is your answer. Another line L4, which is parallel to L1 and passes through negative 1, 3, determine the Roman 1 size to 2 decimal places of an acute angle that line L4 makes with the x-axis. So ni 2 marks too. So L4 is parallel to L1. So let's now search for L1 mwanzo, kwa sababu L4 hatuna. L1 yetu tuliandika mahali tukasema ni 2y minus 3x is equal to 6. Right. L1 tulisema ni 2y minus 3x is equal to 6. So ifanye in the form of y equal to mx plus c. No, tutafute gradient. So utaiandika 2y negative 3x utaweleka the other side, or positive 3x plus 6. And then divide by 2. So and therefore y itakuwa ni 3 over 2x plus 3. So wacha niandike tu hapo, y equal to 3 over 2x plus 3. So gradient yako L1 ni 3 over 2. Now gradients for parallel lines are equal. So L1 kama gradient yake ni 3 over 2, L2 which is M2 gradient yake pia ni 3 over 2. Hapo umeuliza size to 2 decimal place of an acute angle. Utafute size au utafute angle. So how do you search for the angle? It's very easy. Tan theta is equal to your angle, or which is 3 over 2. Ameweza kuandika 1.5. So theta itakuwa ni tan inverse ya 3 over 2 or 1.5. So theta yako ni ngapi? So tan inverse ya 3 over 2, which should give you 56 point to 2 decimal place 0.31 degrees. Sawa. Haya, tushapata hiyo. Swali la mwisho of this question. Si jamaliza bado maswali mawili. Roman 2, y-intercept of line L4. Y-intercept of line L4. L4 gradient tunajua ni ngapi? Tunajua gradient ni 3/2. Point yake umeambiwa another line L4 which is parallel to L1, it passes through -1,3. Point is given by -1,3. So now let's write it in the form of y equal to mx plus c. Now I won't go through the long cut. You nifanya y minus c nini. No, we already have everything. Gradients iko now, points coordinates iko now. So pale ambapo kuna y uta replace with y, pale ambapo kuna x uta replace with x. So y, which is 3, is equal to your gradient, which is 3/2 times times x, which is -1. So I'm just multiplying this plus c. Wewe kazi yako tu kutafuta c. Sawa. C hauna kazi nyingine, ni wewe tu utafute c. Now by the way, ikiwa ushapata c pia y-intercept itakuwa ushapata. So 3/2 times -1 ni -3/2. So therefore -3/2 peleka the other side. So itakuwa ni hivi. So c itakuwa ni 3 plus 3/2. Your c is therefore 4.5. 3 plus 3/2 ni 4.5 or 4.5. So let's rewrite the equation. Your equation should be y equal to 3/2 x plus 4.5. So your c is basically your y-intercept. So once ushajua c yako, ushajua y-intercept yako. Kwa sababu hata ukisema x hapo ni 0, bado itakupa answer to hii c. Because your y-intercept is a point at which the line cuts the y-axis. So if it cuts the y-axis, it means that the x value is usually 0. So your y-intercept ni 4.5. Usiandike 4.5, write it as 0.5. Kama wataka uandike 0.4.5. But that is your answer. So let's continue with the other question. Okay, question 21. The figure below OA, which is this one is equal to A. OB ambao ni hii, so ni kutoka hapa, yani OB peke yake. Don't assume it is OC, ni B. OB is equal to B, OC equal to 3OB. Umeambiwa OC ambao ni kutoka hapa paka hapa ni mara 3 ya OB. So kama OB ni B, OC ni 3B, so this shows that BC ni 2B. So and OD equal to a third OA. OD equal to a third OA. Yamaanisha if OA is A, OD itakuwa thuluthi yake, so it's a third A. So therefore DA will be 2/3 of A. So N is the midpoint. So this is the midpoint, so this is a half and a half. The midpoint of AC, AB and CD intersect at M. So question A, determine in terms of vectors A and B. Roman 1, vector AB. Roman 2, vector CD. Question B, given further that CM is equal to KCD and AM equal to HAB, where H and K are scalar. As scalars express OM in two different ways. And Roman 2, hence find the values of the scalar H and K. And last question, show that points OM and N are collinear. So swali rahisi. So we want to find out for the first question, which is AB. And AB is this one. This is AB. So kama wewe wanza A wataka kufikia B, utatumia njia gani? Tumia ile njia ambayo tayari vectors zake ushapewa. Usitumie njia ambayo yani vectors yake hujapewa, itakuwa ni shida. So instead of going AC and CB, I'll go AO plus OB. Okay, so our AB is given by AO, so you're going against the direction of OA, and then you're going along the direction of OB. So AO ni against the direction being given of OA, so you're going negative A, so plus OB, which is just plus B. So therefore it is the answer. Roman 2, vector CD. Now for vector CD, you use the same ideology, okay, which is here. So this is CD. So for you to reach D and you're starting from C, you will therefore take CO plus OD. Okay, CO plus OD. So it's equal to CO plus OD. So CO is basically negative of that direction being given, which is negative 3. Kumbuka OC ndo 3B, sio? Wewe umeenda CO, umeenda against that direction, so it's negative 3B. Hata ukiona arrow yaelekea hivi, wewe umeenda hivi, so which is against it. So it's supposed to be negative 3B plus OD. OD is a third of A. So you can either write it like this, or you can write it as a third A minus 3B. Sawa paka hapo. I think tuko pamoja. So unless kuna somewhere nimekosea, you can rectify me. If not, we can continue with other questions. So okay, OC to OB. So let's go to the other question. Question B, given further that CM equal to KCD. CM equal to KCD. So your CM is equal to K times your CD. So your CD is just basically the one that you got. So K times a third A minus 3B. It should give you a third KA minus 3KB. Zile scalars utaandika nyuma hizo vectors. Sawa mpaka hapo. And now an AM equal to HAB. And AM is equal to HAB. So AM yako is equal to HAB, which is our AB is negative A plus B. So H times negative A plus B. Therefore, the negative HA plus HB. So, but these are not your answers, so don't confuse it. So, tunaingia bado. So, umeambiwa swali express OM, not CM wala AM. Express OM. So, OM yako ya kwanza uki-express, hakikisha umepita through CM as one of your roots. So, let's go to the diagram. Where is OM? Where is OM? Our OM is somewhere here. OM is here. So this is our OM. So let me use another one. Okay, this is our OM. So for you to reach M, it means that you went through OC then CM. So umeenda OC plus CM. So that's the first direction. So OM yako ya kwanza ni OC plus CM. OC tayari tumejua. Is it OC? Yeah, OC plus CM. OC yetu tayari tunajua ni 3B. Sawa? Positive 3B. CM yetu pia tumejua. CM yetu tumejua hapa. Tumeambiwa ni hii hapa. So which is a third KA minus 3kb. So collect the like term, so 3b minus 3kb plus a third ka. You can factorize as long as we have common vectors, not common coefficients but common vector. Common vector hapa ni vector b, so hapa utaandika 3 minus 3k sawa plus a third ka. So that is your first OM. Na kuna OM ya pili, in which I think I need to write it somewhere here kwa sababu ya nafasi. So OM ya pili waje hapa na ni lazima upitie through AM. Sawa, so tuaje hapa kufika kwa OM, it means that you'll pass through OA plus AM. Sawa, OA plus AM. So OM yako ya pili ni OA plus AM. OA tayari unao, OA tunasema ni vector A, AM pia unao, AM tumetafuta hapo tukasema ni negative HA plus HB. Sawa, your common vector ni hii hapa, so plus na negative, this just gives you negative. So your common vector ni A, vector A, and then you write as 1 minus H once you factor it out, plus HB. So hii ndo OM yako ya pili. So OM2 will be equivalent to 1 minus H to bracket A plus HB. Sawa, na OM yako ya kwanza ni hii hapa. Hence find the values of the scalars H and K. So to find the values of H and K, which is basically easy, we just equate the OMs. Now OM1 will just equal to a OM2 because it will give you the exact same answer. So for the first OM, let me start with vector A. So nitaanza kuandika a third KA plus 3 minus 3KB is equal to 1 minus H, that's OM ya pili, vector A plus HB. Hii ndo A, hii ndo ya A, na hii ndo ya B. So now coefficients za hizo vector should be equal to each other. So coefficient ya A ambayo ni hii yafaa iwe same na hiyo coefficient ya hii hapa. Sawa, na coefficient ya B ambayo ni hii hapa yafaa iwe equal to this one. So the coefficients are always the same of this if they belong to the same vectors. So a third K will be equal to 1 minus H. So and 3 minus 3K will be equal to H. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Now I'll use equation 2 to substitute. So where there's H, I'll put in 3 minus 3K. So let me write the first equation, which is supposed to be a third K equal to 1 minus H, right? So where there's H, I'll put what? I'll put 3 minus 3K. So badala ya kusema 1 minus H, nitaandika 1 minus into bracket, kwa sababu ni kitu kimoja, 3 minus 3K. So a third K is equal to 1. Ukifungua bracket ya 5, 1 minus 3 plus 3K. Sababu hii negative na negative itakuwa positive. So a third K is equal to 1 minus 3, which is negative 2, plus 3K. Sawa, naona nimetumia a lot of straight lines, but as long as yani pia benefit student ahlan wa sahlan. So collect the like term together, a third K peleka the other side, negative 2 peleka huku. So itakuwa positive 2 is equal to 3K minus a third K. So a third K ilikuwa ni positive, ukipeleka the other side itakuwa negative, and negative 2 ilikuwa negative, ukipeleka your left side of the equation itakuwa ni positive. So 3K minus a third K, it should be 2 over 3K, or you can write it as 8 over 3. Simba here. so 8 over 3k. So multiply by 3 over 8 to remove this 8 over 3, and also multiply here by 3 over 8. So hii na hii itatoka, utabakia tu na k value 2 times 3 over 8. It should give you 3 over 4. So k yako ni 3 over 4. H tulisema ni 1, tulisema ni 3 minus 3k. Sima kumbuka h yetu hapa tulisema ni 3 minus 3k. So utachukua 3 minus 3 times k yetu, which is 3 over 4. So 3 times 3 over 4 ni 9 over 4. Sawa? So hii tayari tunajua ni 9 over 4. Haina haja tuendelee. So 3 minus 9 over 4. Na 3 minus 9 over 4 ni 0.75. So which is 3/4 again. So h pia ni 3/4. Okay. Inkuwa the same thing. So k ni 3 over 4. K ni 3 over 4. Na h pia ni 3 over 4. Sawa. Nadhani hapo mpaka hapo tumeelewa. Okay. The last question here. Show that points O, M, and N are collinear. 3 marks 2. So, kuonesha if they are collinear, usually there's a way, and that way is very easy. So we say that OM is equal to KON, because ON is your larger side while the OM is your smaller side. Sasa hata ukiona hapa, this is OM. Sorry, now it's supposed not to be this. This is OM, and the whole thing is ON. Okay, so that's how you know. So show that OM is equal to KON. So let's find our K constant. So we know that OM tayari tumepata, and we say that OM is equal to this, or you can take the other one, but it still gives you the same thing. So OM tulisema ni 1 minus h into bracket vector A plus HB. We know our h ni 3/4. So 1 minus 3 over 4 vector A plus 3 over 4 vector B, and OM will be equal to 1/4 of A plus 3/4 of B. Now your common factor hapa is 1/4. So OM is equal to 1/4 into bracket vector A plus 3B. So hii ndo OM. What about ON? ON sasa waje hapa watafuta ON. So you come here, and ON is given by OA plus AN. So ON ni OA plus AN, and what is our AN? So OA plus AN ni 1/2 of AC. So 1/2 of AC. So, and what is AC? We don't know that. So what we know ni OA to ni vector A. Again, what is AC? AC is given by AO plus OC. AO yetu ni negative A, OC yetu ni 3B. So ni 1/2 of negative A plus 3B. Hiyo ndo 1/2 AC. So A plus 1/2 times negative A itakupa negative 1/2 A. 1/2 times 3B itakupa positive 3 over 2 vector B. 1 minus 1/2, collect like terms. 1 minus 1/2 ni 1/2 A plus 3 over 2 vector B. So So on ni half a plus 3/2 vector b. So your common factor again hapa ni a half, so a half into bracket a plus 3 vector b. Sawa. Na ukiona tulisema that OM is equal to KON, right? Now we know what is our OM, we know what is our ON. Kitu ambao hatujui sasa ni EK ni gani, right? Hiyo K ni gani? So wajiuliza mwanzo, ONC ni hii, angalia hapa. Hii ni ON na hii ni coefficient ya ON, hii ni coefficient ya OM. Sasa coefficient ya ON ni a half, coefficient ya OM ni a quarter. So what do you need to multiply to a half for you to get a quarter? Ni a half yenyewe. So your K is therefore a half. Tuelewane hapa, kwa sababu hapa tayari zizafanana. Hapo kwa ON ni a plus 3b, hapo kwa OM ni a plus 3b pia. Kitu ambayo yatafautiana ni tu hiyo, moja ni half, nyingine ni a quarter. So wajiuliza hii a half ni times na constant gani ndio inipe hiyo a quarter. Hiyo constant yenyewe ni a half. You can confirm it using a calculator. So your constant K is a half. So I think it's understandable mpaka hapo. So a half times a half no a quarter. So OM is therefore a half of ON. Sasa utaandika where O is the common point. Now where O is the common point, OM is parallel to ON. So therefore O, M and N are collinear. So khalas, si ngumu. So ona tayari ndo answer yako. Watu watani ni swali ngumu but si ngumu. Sawa. So hizo tayari 10 marks bure ushapata kwa vectors. So let's do the last question now. Assalamu alaikum. Again, don't know how am I greeting you again. So this is the last question. The last question, question 23. The equation of a curve is given as y equal to into bracket x squared minus 1 plus the bracket, then you have x minus 2. Question A, calculate the gradient of the curve when x equal to 2. So, which is very easy, not that hard. So first, expand up or expand the y function. So we have x squared minus 1, x minus 2. So first expand before even differentiating anything. So should be x squared times x, which is x cubed. X squared times negative 2, which is negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times x, negative x, and negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Okay, so your dy dx will therefore be, now you're differentiating this. So for you to differentiate this out, you take the power, which is power 3, put it behind x, it gives you 3x, and the power itself subtract 1 from it, so to give you 2. So utachukua ile 3 uta subtract 1 to give you 2. Now the same thing with the other number, hiyo 2 peleka nyuma, so you'll have 2 numbers, and in case you get a situation like this where you have 2 numbers behind, you multiply those 2 numbers. So therefore it should be 2 times 2 to give you 4, and the power itself is subtract 1 to give you power 1. But rather than writing x power 1, you just write it as x. For the negative 1x, it was supposed to be negative 1x. Kama kuna x, just eliminate that x and just take your coefficient. And the coefficient for x is negative 1. So you've differentiated to this. Now let's find dy dx. Let's find dy dx. So when x is equal to 2, what is our gradient function? So 3 times 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 1. So 2 squared is 4, 3 times 4 is 12, minus 4 times 2 is minus 8, minus 1, it gives you, your end result gives you how much? It gives you 3. So your answer is 3. Now let's continue with question B Roman 1. The question B Roman 1 is asking you to determine the coordinates of the turning points of the curve. Sawa, and kupata hizo turning points ni rahisi. Sawa, so at turning point your gradient is usually equal to 0. So gradient yako ni 0, and your turning point is either at the apex in case of a maximum or at the bottom in case of a minimum. So it's the point through which, or it's the point at which the gradient is equal to 0. So you know your gradient function, yani ile function ambayo itakusaidia kupa gradient is 3x squared minus 4x minus 1. Now this one is equal to 0. So now let's find for x when your gradient is 0. Since this is a quadratic equation, we tend to use 3 ways. You either use completing square, or completing the square method, or the quadratic formula, or the sum product, or factorization method. Now we can't use factorization method because the answers most probably it's in decimals, and therefore we just use quadratic formula. So quadratic formula is given by this: negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So our a is 3, our b is negative 4, and our c is negative 1. So replace with the b with negative 4. So x is equal to, if b is negative 4, negative b itakuwa ni positive 4 plus or minus, then you put the cube root, square root, and then you find for b squared. Now b squared sasa ni negative 4 squared, then minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 1. Sawa, tamam. So divide by 2a, which is 2 times 3. Eventually it gives you 6. So x is equal to 4 plus or minus, so negative 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 1. So it's square root of 28 divided by 6. Let me just use a ruler. So x1, for x1 now, let's start with positive. So x1 is equal to 4 plus root of 28 divided by 6. 4 plus root of 28 divided by 6. It gives you, your x1 is given by 1.5. Let's say 1.55. Or if you want to write it in 4 significant figure, but I prefer just to write 1.55. Okay, that's my option. But most answers you're supposed to write in 4 significant figure, but since this is just points, I don't know what will be. I don't see the reason for us to write a lot of decimals. So let me just write 1.55. But in case for you might change, you have an error in y, so let me just write 1.4549 to 4 significant figure. That's for x1. x2 is equal to 4 minus root 28 divided by 6. Okay, 4 minus root 28 divided by 6. So the answer is negative 0.215 3. So those are your two answers. That one and this one. Now we have x1, we also have x2. Now what's remaining is the y function. Now the y function is not the dy dx function. Your y function is the initial one, is this one, x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. So don't confuse this with the dy dx function. So because we want to find the value of y, therefore we're going to use y function. So when x is equal to 1.549, then how much will it be your y? So 1.549, you cubed it, minus 2 times 1.549 squared minus 1.549 plus 2. So just put the whole thing inside your calculator, okay, and it gives you your answer. That's 2. Your answer for y is negative 0.6311. So yeah, when x is equal to negative 0.2153, then how much would be your y? Y equal to negative 0.2153 cubed minus 2 times negative 0.2153 squared minus, but remember your x is negative, so minus x will be minus into brackets 0.2153 then plus 2. Okay, so be very attentive on that matter. Three plus 2. So for the y answer, it gives you 2.113. Yeah. So x answer yako ni hiyo, y answer yako ni hiyo. So x ni 1.549, comma y yako itakuwa ni negative 0.6311. So that's the first turning point. You can have another turning point, depends on how your curve will look like. It either can look like this, okay, which yani itakuwa na maximum and minimum. So the other point is this one, negative 0.2153, and your y is 2.113. So these are your two answers. Hopefully tuko pamoja. Roman 2, nature of the turning points above, that's why it's only 2 marks. So now we know our dy dx, which is equal to 3x squared minus 4x minus 1. 3x squared minus 4x minus 1. Now dy dx won't give us the nature of the turning points, but if you differentiate it further, the other function, which is I think d squared y over dx squared, if I'm wrong please correct me in case you're a teacher. I don't know if it's dy squared or d squared y over dx squared. If you differentiate 3x squared, it gives you 6x. For the negative 4x, it gives you negative 4. Negative 1, you just eliminate it out. Now this function will help you find the nature of the turning points. The nature means how your curve look like. Is the turning point at the top or is it at the bottom? Since we have two turning points, we don't know if it goes like this or if it goes like this, or both of them go upwards or both of them go downwards. So we don't know that for sure. So this d squared y over dx squared will help us know that. So therefore, so what's the step for you knowing that? Now the cx minus 4, first of all, write the x coordinate for the turning point, in which is the first one is 1.549, okay, and the other one is negative 0.2153. So let's start with the 1.549. Okay, so for the 1.549, will it give you a positive answer or a negative answer? So you substitute. So 6 times 1.549 minus 4. So the question is, does it give us a positive value or a negative value? Our concern is not the answer, it's just the positiveness or the negativeness of the value. So it gives us 5.294, which is a positive value. Therefore, at 1.549, your curve is usually minimum. If you get an answer which is positive, your curve is minimum. If you get a negative answer under d squared y, your curve will be maximum. So now let's search for negative 2.153. Also the same scenario. So 6 times negative 0.2153, okay, minus 4. Angalia itakupa answer ambao ni negative ama ni positive. So answer yako ni negative. So yamaanisha at this value huwa ni maximum. At this value ni minimum. So let's write it down. So at 1.549, comma negative 0.631, the first turning point. So is usually what is minimum. Sawa? And therefore your curve will look like this. So at the other one, which is negative 0.2153, comma 2.113, you got a negative answer, and therefore it's maximum, and your curve will be looking like this. So those are your 2 marks. Khalas. Now let's come here and let's sketch the curve. Okay, now for you to sketch the curve, before I sketch the curve, I need to know our y-intercept and x-intercept. So what is our y-intercept? Now I think if I'm not wrong, your y function was x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. So yeah, if I open this up, x cubed minus, but still I think I don't need to do that. Now for you to get x-intercept, what does x-intercept mean? X-intercept means your y value is 0. So but still it will be somehow hard to find that value, but let's just find it. Your x-intercept is when y equal to 0. So where there's y, you just replace it with 0. So 0 equal to x squared minus y, and the other one as x minus 2. Okay, so it means that x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So your x is equal to 1, square root of 1. Okay, so if you square x, this one, because it's x squared, your x is either positive 1 or negative 1. So if the other one is x minus 2 equal to 0, so your x is equal to 2. So you have 3 x-intercepts. You have positive 1, you have negative 1, and you have positive 2. So you have these ones. You have, let's say now 1, 0. You have 2, 0. You also have negative 1, 0, because this is a cubic graph. Now what is our y-intercept? Now our y-intercept is basically your coordinate when x is equal to 0. So where there's x, you replace it with what? With 0. So at the end of the day, I think it won't make sense. Okay, but let's just try out. So y is equal to x squared minus 1 times x minus 2. So where there's x, you replace it with 0. So 0 squared, and this is 0. So 0 squared is 0, and again 0 minus 2. So minus 1 times minus 2. Your y-intercept is positive 2. So you have those 2 things. Okay, you have that one and this one. So you have, now you have many points. Okay, yeah, so your y-intercept is 2, so it should be 0, 2. Now I don't know where I can write down this, I can draw this graph, but let me just draw it here, so you'll forgive me just drawing a sketch, so it shouldn't be that accurate, you know. So let me just sketch it. Okay, Now, basically what we said is okay, what we said is we have x-intercept and y-intercept. So now let's plot it. 1, 2, 3. Then we have -1, -2, -3. We have -1, -2, and -3. We have 1. We have 2 and 3. So we have 2 and we have 3. Right. So the next step is very easy. Okay, so let's plot the x-intercept. So our first x-intercept is 1, 0, which is here. Then we have 2, 0, which is here. And then we have -1, 0. The next one is your y-intercept, which is 0, 2, which is supposed to be here. Now, the next step is to, let me draw using another pen so that it can be visible. So this one, and this one, this one, and this one. The next one is to draw or to plot your stationary points, which are this and this. So your first stationary point 1.549 and -0.6311. So 1.5 is somewhere here, and -0. So should be somewhere here. So it's something like this, and -0.2153 and 2.113, which is around here, I think so. Okay, so yeah, so it should be somewhere there. Now when you're drawing your curve, you look at how you're turning, what's the nature of your curve at those turning points. Now for the first one, which is here, right, is usually minimum. For the one which is above is maximum, this one. For the other turning points, we say it's maximum. So your curve will start from the x-intercept. It goes up the first stationary point, which is maximum, and then it goes down, it touches those points, and then goes down to where the curve is minimum. So it should look like this. Okay, and you write your equation, which is this. So hopefully that is understandable, but in case there's an inquiry somewhere, you can ask it in the comment section. In case you haven't understood how we sketched it, then I'll be glad to answering your question. In case also you see me not answering, I think it's because a lot of comments are popping out nowadays. I'll try my level best to answer your comments, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Okay, so with that, all in all, I'd like to remind you again to subscribe to the channel. Okay, and since it is a live session, so in case you missed it again, you look at the recorded session, you share it to your friends as well, but don't forget to subscribe. Click on the notification bell so that you can get updates on the videos that I'm going to post. So the video also is lengthy, but I've divided it into sections so that you can take your time to watch it. So هذا, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.